Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to the Duke and Dutch Show. I am your host, Dutch. Along with me is Duke, as always. It is a rainy Friday here in the Keystone State of Pennsylvania, but it's finally cooled off, and we have a lot of interesting topics to get into. Probably the biggest upset in NYC history in a while is with the Democratic primary race. Zohran Mamdani, the Muslim socialist, who just became a citizen a couple years ago, has defeated Andrew Cuomo and will now be taking on Eric Adams later this year. Some of what Zohran Mamdani wants to do is higher taxes on the wealthy. He also wants government-funded grocery stores. He also is in favor of spending millions of dollars on gender-affirming care for minors. You know, he's a true socialist through and through, and a lot of people are not so happy about it, but I guess the people of New York, it's what they want to vote for, and it seems like he's really connecting with the youth or the younger voter demographics. We also are going to be talking about going from that into a disgraced former New York politician who was ousted last year, Mr. Jamaal Bowman. Now, Jamaal Bowman is not going to be back in the news this time for pulling fire alarms to stop votes during a congressional hearing or anything like that. He's not even going to be talking about his disgraced campaign and how the squad could not save him from losing his congressional seat. No, now he's going to talk about how the threat of the N-word negatively affects the health of black people, and that's why they have higher rates of cancer and diabetes and stuff like that. I don't know. It's riveting stuff. I don't know why Jamaal Bowman was ousted from Congress. It seems like the race card is playing really well for them. Past that, we have the MCU, their newest show, Ironheart. We're going to be talking about the first 3 episodes and why some influencers and social media personalities are calling it possibly maybe the worst thing this Marvel has put out in ever. And besides all that, we have an update on the Karmelo Anthony situation. We talked about this last time. He was indicted for first-degree murder by the grand jury. So obviously I think there's a case there. Now it seems to be of the question of the Give, Send, Go money. They raised about $530,000. And you would think that would go to his legal defenses for the most part, among other things.
It was advertised that.
But so we have a little bit of conflicting things about how that money is going to be used. And also, I don't know if I have that Dean Withers crash out thing. I think I closed that down. But anyway, before we get into all that, sorry, I know I've been talking for quite a while now. I need a drink of water. Duke, how are you doing this morning?
Not too bad. Drainy, weary day. Kind of being lazy. I woke up quite late today, but the show must go on. Let's see how the show goes today.
So we're going to be talking about mainly here Zohran Mamdani, who is a very interesting, controversial figure. Obviously, he's pretty proud of being not just a full-blown socialist. He's not hiding it like AOC does or Bernie Sanders does or anything like that. He's very in-your-face about it, and it seems, I guess, that's what the New Yorkers are going to want, because if he's going to take on Eric Adams, I guarantee you I don't know what Eric Adams' poll numbers are, but I'm sure they're in the red. I don't think Eric Adams is probably one of the most disliked mayors in the country, probably only ahead of Brandon Johnson. But yeah, this is from Zohran Mamdani. This is an old rap video. I don't think it's too bad, actually, but let's play it.
It's a rap. Get the guap, spin the rack on your naughty. Spin the rack. Come through, give a dab to your naughty. If you really feeling good, spin the track for your naughty.
I don't think it's too bad.
I've definitely heard worse.
So, but we're not talking about his rap career or his rap skills, unfortunately, even though I think maybe if he didn't want to be a socialist politician, maybe he could have gone in and been a successful rapper. The beat wasn't too bad. And apparently he is influenced by some famous rappers. I know he likes 50 Cent, although I can't say the feeling's actually mutual, but we'll get into that in a second. So, from Billboard Chris, I'm coming to New York with a sign that says Zohran Mamdani wants to sterilize kids. He plans to spend $65 million on childhood sex changes. This communist radical must not be allowed to win. Unfortunately, I think he's probably going to.
One of the things that we've said.
Ooh, I'm sorry about that. Turn this down. There's a lot of background noise.
Beyond saying they're going to make this a sanctuary city for LGBTQIA+ workers, beyond saying that they're going to establish an office of LGBTQIA+ affairs, is also that we're going to provide $65 million in funding for gender-affirming care, the same amount of funding that the federal government this moment especially, if we want to fight the Trump administration, we have to do so by fully funding our own services, taxing the wealthiest New Yorkers and corporations.
All right, so $65 million to gender-affirming care for children, minors. Or I guess just the LGBTQIA plus community in general. Listen, for all you people who are voting for this guy in New York because you think he's a slick businessman or not, I'm just going to say, if these communist policies, they go down and everything goes wrong, one of the worst states you could move to is Pennsylvania. I'm just going to say, no, Pennsylvania is a terrible state to live in. If I had the money, I would move out of it. No one moved to Pennsylvania. You want to go to California. California is the greatest state there is. Go to California if you're fleeing New York. And vice versa. Just trade each other.
I'll tell you right now, his idea of taxing the rich in New York is going to backfire big time because you know what rich are capable of doing?
Ooh, a lot, I would imagine. I don't know what
they're capable of moving out of New York. They're capable of moving their entire business operations out of New York.
Here's the interesting thing by these statistics alone. By the median income, under 50,000 people were plus 19 for Andrew Cuomo. 50,000 to 100,000, which I would guess you would say is the middle class median income, you know. Mamdani is plus 6, over 100,000, and these are the people he wants to tax the most, plus 13. So these aren't like the poor people who are voting for socialism here. These are the rich people voting for socialism. And I think rich people are a lot more apt to vote for socialism because it's like, you're not going to feel the effects as much if you have more money in your bank account.
Well, I mean, if they're on board for it, then more power to them if that's what they want to do. If they want to give up their money to make a socialist, I don't want to say government, but a socialist run state, I guess it's good for all the people in that state.
Well, I wanted to look at this too. I find this very interesting. By racial majorities broken down, every single racial group except for blacks voted for Mamdani overall. Whites plus 5, Hispanics plus 7, Asians plus 15, blacks
That's a little surprising.
plus 20 for Cuomo. So, maybe I don't want to be racist, but maybe the only sane people in New York are the black people, because I would say
I'm surprised to see that he's getting as many votes as he did, honestly, just in general. The fact that it's this diverse makes it even more shocking, but either way, I'm surprised he's really getting...
Well, yeah, I'm surprised if Andrew Cuomo, he has a whole list of his own problems too, but
I think they want change, and I think they want something different, but is this the right different?
Oh, no, this is not the right different. Here he is with, let's see, Muslim communist Zohran Mamdani, who just won the Democrat primary for NYC mayor, campaign with radical left streamer Hamas baby oil piker. Why is this anything to talk about? Well, Hamas baby oil piker here famously said that America deserved 9/11, and now he goes to New York and he's going to campaign for this socialist to take over New York City. I mean, I guess, maybe people forget, 9/11 was 24 years ago. Maybe it is time to move on from that. But it's just kind of crazy if you would think. I mean, I would say the racism's pretty much dead, because if you're going to have a Muslim be elected to the mayor of New York City,
yeah,
and he's campaigning with a guy who says America deserved 9/11. Okay. I mean, I guess.
Yeah.
Let's see here. We're going to go to this.
The world sure has changed.
So this is just in from Nick Sorter. Shout out to him. I like Nick Sorter. Annie O was just formally asked Attorney General Pam Bondi to revoke Zohran Mamdani's citizenship and deport him back to Uganda. Mamdani was openly supporting terror organizations prior to becoming a citizen, making him ineligible. I don't think anything's going to happen with this, but they want to send him back. I don't think anything's going to happen from it, but, we'll see. Dear Attorney General Bondi, I write to request the Department of Justice open investigation into whether Zohran Mamdani, currently a candidate for mayor of New York City, should be subject to denaturalization proceedings under AUSC 1451 on the grounds that he may have procured U.S. citizenship through willful misrepresentation or concealment of material support for terrorism. According to public reports, including a June 21st, 2025 New York Post article, Mr. Mamdani expressed open solidarity with individuals convicted of terrorism-related offenses prior to becoming a U.S. citizen. Pause that right there. This I forgot to mention that too. This guy wants to let everybody out of jail too. He's not in favor of the jails. Everyone's getting released. So, you know.
Abolish the jail systems, I guess.
Yeah, he doesn't want anyone in jail. He thinks that, no, that's a waste of money, he says. Specifically, he rapped Free the Holy Land 5, my guys. The Holy Land Foundation was convicted in 2008 for providing material support to Hamas, a designated foreign terrorist organization. Publicly praising the foundation's convicted leadership as my guys raises serious concerns about whether Mr. Mamdani held affiliations or sympathies he failed to disclose during the naturalization process. While I understand that...
Fair statement.
Yeah, I mean... If what this guy alleges is true, which it's backed up by video, so I would assume it is. While I understand that some may raise First Amendment concerns about taking legal action based on expressive conduct, such as rap lyrics, speech alone does not preclude accountability where it reasonably suggests underlying conduct relevant to eligibility for naturalization. If an individual publicly glorifies a group convicted of financing terrorism, it is entirely appropriate for federal authorities to inquire whether that individual engaged in non-public forms of support, such as organizational affiliation, fundraising, or advocacy that would have required disclosure on Form N-400 or during a naturalization interview. Moreover, Mr. Mamdani has recently refused opportunities to reject the pro-terrorist rallying cry to globalize the intifada, a call to expand violent attacks on civilians to the United States and around the world, which I think I have that clip a little later on. While political speech in isolation is not dispositive, in light of earlier expressions of admiration for individuals convicted of supporting terrorism, a troubling pattern emerges that warrants formal scrutiny. The naturalization process depends on the good faith disclosure of any affiliation with or support for groups that threaten U.S. national security. So, is anything going to happen from this? I highly doubt it, but, obviously people have their concerns. Let's see here. And obviously, this guy is an open socialist. He's an open communist sympathizer. He probably is an open terrorist sympathizer, too, if we look a little more into it.
The pressure, no matter the attacks, I will not move on those principles. And I tell you, brothers and sisters of this masjid, that we have an opportunity, starting tomorrow for early voting until Election Day on June 24th, an opportunity to show that New Yorkers want that consistency. They want those principles.
I guess they want government function, grocery stores. They don't want jail anymore. I don't know.
To me, the thing is, according to the statistics of the income levels, it's weird that the higher the income, the more support he's getting for that type of ideology. That's what that's kind of a head scratcher for me.
That's not weird at all. I don't think, anyway. It's a bunch of college-educated white women who are always the ones who are like pro-open, borders, pro-socialism, all that stuff. Honestly, I think liberal white women will ruin this country. I really do. That's just my take. But yeah, it's actually like the more educated you are, the more like you can just kind of be indoctrinated by this stuff. I don't know though.
They want a belief in humanity. And alhamdulillah, in this city we have 1 million Muslims. 200,000 of us are registered as Democrats. But in the last election, only 7% of us voted. Now, I will not judge anyone in our community because often it feels like there's not much to vote for. But this year we have an opportunity. We have an opportunity. And I can tell you, I began this race at 1%, and today I am just 2% away from Andrew Cuomo.
And he did go on to beat Cuomo. And you know what it also was too? This guy does know how to do, and he's younger obviously, but he knows how to do social media very well. And I don't think I have the interview with this young woman. She voted for him. She has no idea what he's about at all, but she saw him on social media. And it's a liberal white woman who probably graduated college, is probably in the city. They're probably at some snooty job. It's like a daycare facility where they're not doing anything super meaningful, but they're making a good paycheck. And this guy's just like, he's a slick talker. And, he's a silver-tongued salesman or whatever, and you just like his appearance or you like his attitude, and you're voting on that. You don't know anything else. It's craziness.
2% away from City Hall. 2% away from making history. And that is why every day a new Republican billionaire puts $1 million into this race to attack me. But I know that I have something they do not have. which is the support of people across the city. So I ask you to tell everyone in your life that this election is here, to tell them what's on the ballot, and to tell them that we as Muslims deserve what every other community deserves: equality and respect. But we know that in this city and in this country, we are not going to be given those things. We have to win those things. And one way we win them is at the ballot box.
Employing racism to his own community, of course. Democrat playbook. You got to divide. I mean, the Democrats, that's all they do. They just divide people, unfortunately. It's,
Hey, just to interject a little bit, I can hear the audio from your videos perfect. Your mic is cutting out quite a bit. I can hear like half the stuff you're saying.
okay.
I don't know. Maybe just wiggle your wire, make sure the connection's good. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't obviously tell if I can hear anything or not, but
It's all right. Let's just keep going. I'll do my best to understand everything.
well, I could end it after this segment, but I'd have to play the whole thing back. I don't know, like it's definitely picking up audio feed on my thing. Maybe.
So, yeah, let's just keep going.
Okay.
We're good.
So I ask you, when you go and vote, remember, it is our opportunity to show that Muslims don't just belong in New York City. We belong in City Hall too. Thank you so much. Salam alaikum.
Well, obviously he did enough to rouse his base of supporters. Not to say that it's just the Muslim community, but obviously, the socialist community or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. New York's next projected mayor revealed why he wants to empty jail cells and release criminals. I mean, you can tell this guy's going to be great for you in New York.
That's an interesting take. Yeah.
Oftentimes, we've even found as legislators, when we go into these courts, the term violent crime is even used when people are stealing packages. Violent crime is even used when people are accused of burglary and there happens to be a housing unit in that same dwelling. So violence is an artificial construction. We have to be very clear that what is happening here with these district attorneys, that is violence.
Well, what about all the people getting assaulted on the subways? Is that artificial too?
Yeah.
I don't know. We got something else.
And last I checked, those were all still crimes that he stated. Burglary, theft, those are all still crimes.
So I got two more things here, and like I said, oddly enough, I've been critical of Eric Adams in the past. I don't think he's done a great job running New York, but now, lesser of two evils, folks. I would vote for Eric Adams. I really would.
This is a city not of socialism. No. I've been to socialist countries. This is a city where you could come as a dishwasher and you can own a chain of restaurants. This is a city where you can be a cab driver and then become a doctor.
Here's a point. New York used to be, I mean, you got to go back maybe like 40 years to when Rudy Giuliani cleaned up the city from the 70s into the 80s. And he got all, he busted all the prostitution rings and all that stuff from there. But if you go back, it's like New York at one time, people wanted to live in New York City. It was like the Big Apple was the highlight of things to do. Now I'm not so sure about that, but but there's
especially when a lot of immigration came through New York City.
But there are a ton of people, paying through the nose for a little 1,800 square foot apartment in some high rise somewhere. Yeah. And they're probably paying about $5,000 at least to live there per month. So I mean, people do still want to live in New York, but through the sanctuary city stuff, how Eric Adams has not always done the correct thing with that, and now he's probably the best hope that New York has. And honestly, if I was going to give my opinion on it, I don't think he's going to win re-election. I think this guy will win and he'll take over New York, but we shall see.
This is a city where you could go from homelessness to building housing. This is a city where you could be a young person who's dyslexic, a young person who was rejected, and eventually to be elected to be the mayor of the city of New York. This is the type of city we're in.
Maybe he's dyslexic, I don't know.
This is not a city where you use idealism to state you're giving everything to everyone for free. There's no dignity in someone giving you everything for free. There's dignity in giving you a job so you can provide for your family and the opportunities that you deserve. So this is not a city of handouts. This is a city of hands up. We're going to lift up the city of New York.
Never thought I'd be rooting for Eric Adams, but yet here we are. This was interesting too because we mentioned 50 Cent. Obviously, Zohran Mamdani is an aspiring rapper. At least one time was very interested in it enough to make his own rap music. And he cites 50 Cent because 50 Cent, I believe, is from. He's a New Yorker. I think he's from Queens, I believe.
I forget, yeah.
But 50 Cent doesn't like him too much, I guess. So
I've proposed is that we raise $10 billion to pay for our entire economic agenda and start to Trump-proof our city because we know he'll use federal funding as leverage over this city. And we will do so in two key ways. The first is to match the state's top corporate tax rate to that of New Jersey. We are at 7.25%. They're at 11.5%. Corporations can pay it over there. They can pay it over here. And the beauty of it is that it doesn't just apply to corporations headquartered in New York City. Because when you say this, people will say, well, they're going to go to Florida. Mm-hmm. Wherever you are headquartered, as long as you do business in the state of New York, you are taxable for that corporate tax. We're talking about corporations that are making millions of dollars, not in revenue, but in profit. And the second is taxing the top 1% of New Yorkers. We're talking about people who make $1 million a year or more, taxing them just by a flat 2% tax increase. And I know if 50 Cent is listening, he's not going to be happy about this. Mm-hmm. He tends to not like this tax policy, but I want to be very clear. This is about $20,000 a year. It's a rounding error. And all of these things together, they make every New Yorker's life better, including those who are actually getting taxed.
I don't think that's true. 50 Cent's not happy about that, though. Rapper 50 Cent offers to pay socialist Zohran Mamdani over $250,000 to leave New York City after Mamdani called him out during a recent podcast. And Mamdani, a former rapper himself, wants to increase taxes on New Yorkers, which 50 Cent is not a fan of. Where did he come from? Whose friends is this? I'm not feeling this plan. No, I will give him $258,000 or $258,750 and a first-class one-way ticket away from New York. I'm telling Trump what he said too. 50 said on Instagram. So 50 Cent is not a fan of this guy. So Democrats fret about national fallout after Mamdani stuns in New York City. The stunning success of Zohran Mamdani, a 33-year-old self-described Democratic socialist in the race for New York City mayor, has exposed the fiery divisions plaguing the Democratic Party as it struggles to repair its brand nearly half a year into Donald Trump's presidency. A fresh round of infighting erupted among Democratic officials, donors, and political operatives on Wednesday, a day after Mamdani's leading opponent, former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, conceded the Democratic primary. Mamdani appears on a glide path to the nomination, though ranked choice vote counting will determine the final outcome next week. Many progressives cheers the emergence of the young and charismatic Mamdani, and I would say, I've seen some videos of him. He is charismatic. I'll give him that. Whose candidacy caught on with viral campaign videos and focused on the cost of living. But the party's most pragmatic wing cast the outcome as a serious setback in their quest to broaden Democrats' appeal and move past the more controversial policies that alienated would-be voters in recent election. Indeed, Wednesday's debate was about much more than who would lead America's largest city for the next 4 years. And I'm not really going to get into the whole rest of this thing. It's going to go through a bunch of other people. I'm not going to, I'm not donating to you, Associated Press.
If this guy gets voted in, man, it's gonna really change how things are done in America because this could definitely snowball.
Well, there's
other states following his way.
There are other people too that say, what's he really gonna do? Is he really gonna tank the city any worse than it is? And it's like that. I mean, that could be true. I just don't think electing a socialist to the Big Apple it's not a great look for America.
Has New York City been run good? No. It definitely needs change. Is this the change it needs?
Oof. No, I don't think so.
I mean, we're not getting a lot of options, which is quite stunning in the same sense to say, why are there not more people running that have other ideas? Because the only options are what they've had and socialism. Those are the only two options that they currently have, which that's awful.
It definitely seems so.
That's wow.
I don't know. Let me just.
For other states, if this guy gets elected and then other states start implementing the same plans, it's gonna change. It's gonna change America.
It's definitely not going to be good for New York. I'll say that. But yeah, maybe he won't do as much harm. I don't think Eric Adams is going to get reelected. I think this guy will probably take it. I mean, I didn't think he was going to beat Cuomo, but he obviously did. Hey, am I still cutting in and out? Just real quick, I tried to adjust my volume settings a little bit so my input's a little better. But
let's just keep going. I mean, as long as it's recording properly, that's all that really matters, I guess.
I won't be able to. I mean, from what I could tell on my end, it was all right when we tested it earlier. But You're saying I'm still cutting in and out?
It happens randomly here and there. It's
Okay.
not like every single sentence. Like right now, the last 3 sentences you said were perfectly fine.
Oh, well, maybe
But
that's
then
better then.
when you're talking about, in the middle of a segment, it just randomly,
Okay.
like 1 or 2 words just kind of blank out.
Sorry about that, folks. Yeah, technical difficulties here. We normally don't have them, but they do arise. So,
Happens.
all right. So, we're gonna be wrapping up that segment. We'll probably be talking about Zohran Mamdani again. I hope I'm saying that right. I'm probably not, but I don't care. Yeah, we'll probably be talking about him again. We're going to move on to Mr. Jamaal Bowman. If you don't know who Jamaal Bowman is, Jamaal Bowman was a former member of the Squad with Ayanna Presley, AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, Corey Bush, and he was unceremoniously ousted, I guess. Not ceremoniously ousted. He was ceremoniously ousted. He got voted out, so it's fine. He was kicked out. They didn't want him anymore. He's no longer a politician. Now he's just a crybaby, but he was kind of like that before. Probably most famous before that, he was the most famous for pulling a fire alarm during to delay a vote in the House of Congress. And then, of course, he says, well, I didn't know it was a fire alarm. I got confused. I thought it was a door handle. And,
Wow, I didn't know that was his excuse.
That was his excuse.
Wow.
And to make matters worse, he used to be a middle school principal. And so obviously he's in a building with fire alarms every single day. He knows what they look like, even if...
He must have pulled a lot of fire alarms in his time as a middle school principal.
Maybe he did, actually. I mean, they have fire drills like once a month, so that's totally possible. But that's not why we're talking about Jamaal Bowman here today. We're talking about how racism is really affecting the health of Black Americans, according to him. Which is a very interesting take. But, it's not super surprising. The whole Squad, their whole grift is race. So I found this from Jamaal Bowman here. He thinks the NFL is rigged against Black players, even though we looked this up beforehand. What'd you say was the statistics, Duke?
Over 70% is...
Over 70% of the players in the NFL are Black. I know, isn't that weird? The equality thing never works in professional sports. I wonder why. Because obviously it seems like Black athletes Black men are 6% of the population. And yet they make up 70% of the NFL. And yeah, I never hear anybody complain about inequality in the NFL.
And most of the positions are the highest paid individual in those positions are usually Black.
Yeah, I don't know.
They dominate quite a lot of the positions.
Maybe we might need more diversity, equity, and inclusion in the NFL. But let's hear what Mr. Bowman has to say here.
Sanders, because he talk a certain way and because he wears gold chains and his pops is Dion and he don't want to submit to y'all white shit,
Mm-hmm.
he's gonna slip in the draft. And you're telling me it's based on the evaluation. Like you didn't watch the games and watch him play and see him play. Like
they were very clear as to why he didn't get drafted where he was projected, and it was due to the off the field issues that they were worried about with him and his father. They made it very clear. A lot of GMs, a lot of owners made it very clear they did not want the Deion Sanders baggage that came along with Shadori Sanders.
But
they made it very clear during the draft.
Wouldn't that just also be racism?
Apparently
it's just racism because that's all Mr. Jamaal Bowman. See, hey, listen, he's going to go in and hear about how Black people suffer from heart disease and obesity because they carry the stress of being called the N-word every day, and it's just. I'm gonna just take a moment of silence here. Just for Jamaal Bowman, his entire whatever community he's speaking to, that's terrible. That there's a higher rates of obesity, heart disease, cancer within the Black community because of the threat of being called the N-word.
I didn't know that was one of the leading causes of cancer.
I didn't either, but you know what? There's not enough studies on it because it's racism. Racism.
Catholic
and the problem is
bombed.
we are not dealing with America's original sin.
And this kind of ties into our last thing too, because they're you see MAGA stars levy Islamophobia attacks against the NYC winner, which would have been Zohran Mamdani. So kind of segues in. I don't know why they got Jamaal Bowman on here, but I'm glad they did because they gave us a segment.
And it's
the original sin of America. Are they talking about the genocide of the indigenous Indians, Native Americans? I highly doubt that's what he's talking about. But
It could be.
That's not the original American crime. Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's like Caesar never made it right with the Gauls either. I don't know if Alexander. Actually, Alexander did get.
We'll just forget about what happened with that.
Alexander
Let's
did get
focus
square
on
with the
slavery.
Persians. You know, it's just because
everyone knows America's the only country that ever had slaves.
you know, I don't know. It'd be an interesting Google search. How many countries still practice slavery to this very day? But nobody ever talks about that. But you know, or the fact that, I mean, unless you can trace your lineage back to like a king or a queen, at one point your ancestors were like probably enslaved. Like 99% of people were enslaved at some point. It just, unless you can trace. Yeah.
If you have any DNA genealogy going back to the Middle East, especially, yeah, odds are you have some slave ancestry.
No, anybody. Yeah. I mean, pretty much everyone practiced that. I mean, at some point or another. Yeah. But anyway, let's hear what Jamaal Bowman has to say here.
Hate and racism towards black and brown people, and sexism towards women, and anti-LGBTQ sentiment. We are not dealing with that. Your colleagues in the Republican
Sounds like the typical Democrat, doesn't he?
Party do not hold each other accountable when it comes to the racism that comes from the party on a consistent basis.
Congressman, I mean, where are you on
You can't be calm about this. I'm a black man in America. The reason why heart disease...
I'm white, I can't comment
Listen
on
to what I'm saying. The reason why heart disease and cancer and obesity and diabetes are bigger in the black community is because of the stress we carry from having to deal with being called the N-word directly or indirectly every...
I can't...
He can't comment on it because whoever's the loudest is the one that comments. You got to know
the other guy. He's not allowed to comment on it.
Speak louder.
No, he can't comment on it because of the color of his skin. So it
has nothing to do with the color of your skin. It's because you're not loud enough. No. You have to be loud.
That's what Jamaal Bowman did through the whole 2024 election cycle. He was screaming and yelling and ranting and raving.
As long as you're louder, that's your opinion is right. As long as you're louder.
And he lost. So
every day, if your colleagues would listen and try to learn and engage and grow and stop being so hateful, we could have a better country.
And just to point out here, what did Jamaal Bowman just did? He, one, he's attacking Republicans, so that's not very nice. Two, this man over here, I don't know who he is, the bald guy. Well, they're both bald. The white bald guy, sorry. He's not allowed to comment on this because he's white, so he doesn't understand. And yet, in the same diatribe, this guy's going to explain how he's hateful, but he's not allowed to comment on something because of the color of his skin. I find the Democratic Party, it's just astounding. It's like they think they're so inclusive, but yet they're, I don't know. I find them much more divisive than the Republicans.
But unfortunately, we're still here.
Jamaal, it's coming from one side.
Jamaal, I feel your passion, and I understand where you're coming from, sincerely. I really, really do. It happens on both sides, Jamaal. You might think it happens more on your side. Jamaal, when I leave the show, Jamaal, you should see my Twitter feed.
And they're acquitted. Rodney King, Abner Louima, Eric Gardner, Trayvon Martin.
Every bad thing that's ever happened to anybody ever, you can rattle off. And it's like, it's like bad things happen to people of all race, all times. Actually, statistically, with police shootings, there are more unarmed white people that are killed by police yearly than there are unarmed black people. You could throw per capita into that, but that is statistically true from FBI crime statistics.
Black cops in Memphis, it's not the same. And I don't want to qualify or quantify pain. That's not what I'm talking about. Everyone goes through pain. But the racism in this country is a disease that will destroy us. And it's destroying us right now as we speak. January 6th, everybody was pardoned. Everybody's pardoned. Riots in LA.
How is January 6th racist?
Yeah, how is that about race?
I've heard it's an attack on our capital. It's an attack on our democracy. How is it?
Now it's racist.
I don't know how it's racist exactly.
LA, they're insurrectionists. But we pardoned everyone January 6th.
So, Congressman,
this is America.
January 6th. I was evacuated.
Man.
CNN, for Charlie Kirk, CNN is having a very bad day. It would be nice to see more black intellectuals on CNN who aren't there to talk about being black. I see blacks call each other the N-word every single day, so this is interesting. Actual pic of CNN producers about to pull the fire alarm during this segment, which is this is when Jamaal Bowman obviously pulled the fire alarm in Congress.
Yeah, that's an interesting point too that I didn't bring up, but I was definitely thinking about it. You're saying the N-word is the cause to a lot of health problems for Black Americans, but yet they use the word all the time. I guess maybe it's only when I guess it only has an effect on them when certain people use the word.
He's pulling Jamaal is pulling another false alarm. Yeah, it's like I don't know. Sometimes I wish I had the confidence that these people do, that I could go on there. I don't know anything that I'm going to talk about. I can just rattle off racism, sexism, yada yada yada, and some people are going to take this soundbite and be like, "Oh, good for you, Jamaal." I mean, it's going to happen.
I mean, listen to all the different rap songs that are out there, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
That are released to the masses, and apparently every time the N-word is used in one of those rap songs, another Black person gets cancer.
Right. Well, we're going to listen. This is and this is going to be very hard. There's going to be a trigger warning on this segment. This is very hurtful. This is a very painful experience that Jamaal Bowman had to go through, and I want everybody to be very sensitive towards him. Okay.
I just want to chill. I just want to not. I was walking down the street the other day. Some white dude, bald head, he looked me, called me a piece of shit to my face. Said, "I'm gonna get what's coming to me." Why I got to deal with that, dog? In Yonkers, New York.
Well, can I tell you something?
I'm not making that up.
Stephen Miller needs to remember.
I don't want to.
That was it.
That was it. Somebody came up to him and they called him a piece of shit. So, what they're going to say here, and what Matt Walsh says, and which is actually true, because it's like, I don't want to be racist and say everybody looks alike, but it's like, I don't know if I'd recognize Jamaal Bowman if I was just walking past him. He's not that famous. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This story requires us to believe two things. First, that someone recognized Jamaal Bowman walking down the street. Second, that Jamaal Bowman was verbally harassed and didn't pull out his phone immediately to document it. The first thing is difficult to believe. The second is impossible. In summary, Jamaal Bowman is full of ish. Yep. I would
which is a very accurate point. Like I'm sure he wouldn't have tried to document it or confront the person or escalate the situation if that situation presented itself to him.
And obviously
people sound like he would do that.
People are gonna clown him. Obviously they also say this is MAGA country and pull the fire alarm around his neck. These guys that pulled the fire alarm to prevent a vote, like that guy who cried wolf. Obviously, they got these two Nigerian brothers here. The guys who, the MAGA white men who perpetuated that racist hate crime against Juicy Smollett. So obviously, a whole lot of people are believing this. Jamaal Bowman blames Black health issues on being called the N-word. Ex-New York Rep Jamaal Bowman is blaming the higher rate of chronic disease among the Black community on being called the N-word directly or indirectly every day. The far-left former squad member theorized during a roundtable discussion on CNN Newsnight where he grew animated when referring... He's always animated. When he grew animated when referring to America's original sin, its disease of hate and racism towards Black and brown people. We already... this is... Bowman, known for his unhinged antics, like pulling a Capitol Hill fire alarm during a government shutdown vote in 2023, lost a seat in the 16th Congressional District last year to Westchester County Executive George Latimer. Leading up to the election, Bowman held a rally in the Bronx with fellow squad member AOC, in which former Congressman bellowed, "We're going to show them who the F we are. We're going to show effing AIPAC the power of the mother effing South Bronx." And they proceeded not to do that. So, Listen, I feel bad for Jamaal Bowman. I don't go around throwing the N-word out willy-nilly like that. I would never want to damage his health in that sort of way. I guess what would be your advice, Duke? Stay away from rap music? I don't know.
If he wants any validity to his claims, yeah, I would suggest maybe pleading to the communities about not using that word at all, specifically in rap music, or any type of media like that, because
if they didn't,
it will increase the numbers of health issues for
if they didn't defund the U.S. aid thing, I could see that being a whole thing. That I'm sure that'll pop up at some point. Oh well, Is there a causation between cancer among the black community and the use of the N-word? Studies have found that if you hear the N-word 5 times a day, you are more likely to develop, bone cancer or something like that. It's like I could see that being a study. Why not? We've seen such ridiculous things before.
I'm sure they could definitely spend $25 million to find that out.
So listen, I feel bad for Jamaal Bowman. I hope he doesn't have to be around any racist or homophobic or Republicans. God forbid if there's a Republican around. So pray for everyone.
They're just not allowed to speak when they're in his presence.
If you have the time, please pray for Jamaal Bowman and everything he's going through. It's tough.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to move on here. But before that, like, share, subscribe, comment on the video, share it out to your friends, share it out to your enemies, share it out to your pets. We trust really well with parrots. Parrots love us. Real quick before we move on from that, because we're going to get into Ironheart. Is my mic's any better? Did upping the volume do anything, or I'm still cutting in and out for you?
Still doing the same thing.
Okay. All right. So Marvel's Ironheart reactions are in, but you're racist if you don't like it. This is the same old tired narrative trope that we've heard time and time and time again. If you don't, first we heard if you don't like it, don't watch it. Now, if you don't watch it, you're a racist. And I haven't seen Ironheart. I probably won't, because I can't watch all this woke garbage. But I know you said you saw the first 3 episodes, right? So.
And I guess I'm racist.
Well, no, I'm racist because no, maybe I'm racist because I haven't seen it, and you're probably racist if you didn't like it. Yeah, we're racist for different reasons, but we're racist.
For different reasons, but we're both racist.
We're racist all the same. What can you do?
Yeah, it was a big old trash can of hot garbage.
This was interesting anyway. Robert Downey Jr. celebrated the premiere of Ironheart tonight with a special call to Dominique Thorne.
Good morning.
Good morning.
That's why I'm calling. It's June 24th, which is?
It was Dad's birthday. Happy birthday.
My dad's birthday. Thanks, very considerate. Also, God, you've been doing too much press. Ironheart premieres today. It's all been leading to this. Isn't that exciting?
Oh my God, thank you. Thank you for the call.
17 years from the birth of the MCU
Oh my
to the
God.
premiere of Ironheart, and we're in this love together.
Man.
So psyched.
Man.
I've grown so fond of you, it's bananas.
Thank you.
Congratulations. I'll be watching it with the world. And
I wonder how he's not. I mean, obviously the MCU. Spoiler alert. He's dead, right? I mean,
the character of Tony Stark in the MCU is dead.
Yeah, so he's never actually canonically, I don't think, appeared with
not on the same screen with her. No.
What's it with Riri Williams? So
yeah, she's only been. I might be incorrect in this, but she's only been in the second Wakanda, second Black Panther movie.
Well, okay, maybe he is mentoring her though. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. obviously is like kind of the face of the MCU, so I could see that. I guess I was just curious, if they were ever
they both
in
wear
anything
iron
together.
suits. In the comics, they're linked together because they both wear iron suits.
Yeah, I was just wondering if they appeared in anything together. Yeah, maybe he's mentoring her. I mean, she's like,
no.
It's the passing of the torch, I guess, or something like that. Yeah. Which I don't blame him. I don't blame him either. It's like
the iron suits.
How many? How off the top of your head, how many movies he was in? How many movies he played Iron Man in? Probably like what, 7, something like that. 8,
probably more. Honestly, if you can't. I mean, the Avengers movies; those are 3 right there.
Yep, he was in all the Avengers movies.
He was 3 Iron Man movies, solo Iron Man movies. So that's 6 in itself, right there. He was in the Spider-Man movie.
Oh yeah.
Captain America: Civil War. So that's 9 movies right there, or 8 movies. Yeah. So
no, that's not. No, that's 9. There were 4 Avengers movies, right? He was in all. Yeah.
Yes.
4, 3. Yeah. So at least 9 that we can just think of off the top of our head. So yeah, he's kind of the face of the MCU. Maybe it's just a passing of the torch. He might be mentoring her, but just curious.
He started the modern day MCU for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, the success of Iron Man did launch the. Yeah.
We'll keep each other posted, yeah?
Oh my God, okay, yes, we will.
All right, let's go.
So Ironheart, the first 3 episodes came out, obviously. A couple days ago, a lot of people have been talking about it. I've seen like Critical Drinkers react to it, Neurotics react to it. I saw this. I don't know. Maybe you can tell me how accurate it is. The thing of Riri Williams, supposedly smarter than Tony Stark. bites an electric wire, sells her soul to gain magic powers, uses new powers to steal. What did the writers mean by this? And then there's a smoke detector beeps, which I don't know if that's true or not, but you know, that's the
yeah, I don't know about the smoke. I don't recall that, but everything else is pretty spot on. I thought the same thing. Like, why is she biting electric wire? Like, wouldn't that shock her? But all right. And she's supposed to be smarter than Tony Stark, or as smart. Yeah.
So I'm just kind of going through the memes here, like I said, and then we'll get into the reviews. I'll let you really get into it. I don't know if any of this is accurate or true.
Oh no, it's hit right. Oh, absolutely. Every single one of these comments.
I should be allowed to kill white people, or I'm sorry, I read. White comic bros are crying right now. I don't know if they are. I should be allowed to kill people. Which I think you said she is kind of not really the traditional type of hero.
It's morality is truly in question with this show. She commits quite a few crimes in the 3 episodes. I'm not even going to get into specifics, but
well, we can get into specifics in a second. We'll do a spoiler warning.
I'm sure this will get into specifics.
This is well, I just want to pull this up. From the critics, it's saying it's at a 63% on Rotten Tomatoes, which isn't awful. I mean, it's not great. It's not awful.
It's not the worst, but
no. And then from IMDb, it's sitting at a 3.9, or it was. Let me refresh this real quick.
I feel like that's definitely
3.7.
Yeah, 3.7. So it went down. I feel like that's more accurate. Got a lot of 1-star ratings, and I feel like that's very accurate. I personally would rate it a 3.
All right, well, before we get into I got the review over here. Before we get into it, though, I mean, if you want to, like, break down what you liked about it, what you didn't like, because, like I said, I haven't seen it, so I just react to the memes.
From a superhero show, from any show, really, realistically, it's, I feel like they did Riri Williams an injustice. The character of Riri Williams was, really, like I said, it makes you question her morality, makes you question her being a hero, a positive influence, everything that she is supposed to be. She was not. So far in these 3 episodes.
I know you brought up yesterday too that obviously she was in Black Panther 2, so she has a connection to Wakanda.
She was in Wakanda. She was working with, vibranium. She had advanced technology at her disposal, and yet she feels the need that she has to commit crime after crime after crime to fund her endeavors.
And yet now you're saying, I guess, spoiler warning. Sorry, I think I said that before, though. I hope I did.
Yeah,
but
at the beginning of the segment, you said.
Okay, yeah, but then there's the whole thing with the. I don't know if anyone's really going to be spoiled by this. I don't know if anyone's on the edge of their seat about it, but you said she.
I definitely want you to go look for yourself. Don't just take my judgment, but I think the reviews that I've seen about it are spot on.
And you said she doesn't go to school in Wakanda, which would kind of make sense because she has a connection there already from Black Panther 2. But you said she goes to MIT and she gets expelled.
From what I recall of Black Panther 2, she was in Wakanda studying and doing, experiments, research, all that stuff, potentially building a new suit, because I know she had a suit during Black Panther 2. I'm sure maybe they didn't let her take a vibranium suit home with her, but I don't see why they wouldn't allow her to take a suit with her, just not vibranium. And then she went to MIT. She got expelled from MIT for doing criminal activity, plagiarism specifically. She was basically selling schoolwork to everyone and anyone, and research projects. She was making research projects for people to turn in for themselves so that she could fund her development of her suit.
So as of right now, I think only episode 3 is out, she's not the typical hero. Or it doesn't seem like it so far.
She has done 0 hero things. Besides save... No, I wouldn't... Well, I don't know if I would even say that was technically hero-esque, but she saved her criminal accomplices during a botched mission.
Well, it's loyalty, I guess. It's something.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, she's dealing with like black market arms dealers or something to that effect, or she's with an unsavory group of characters.
Not just deals with them, she blackmails a black market merchant of technology.
So,
yeah,
this
another criminal activity.
So, and from what I've seen,
for the better of the world.
Just the reviews I've seen, they say this is not only a bad show, they say this could be one of, if not the worst show in the MCU. They say it doesn't really do this character justice. Obviously, I don't know anything about this character. Like I said, I'm not a huge comics reader, but
I think the writing is definitely misses everything. I unless what they intended for, I don't understand why they would intend for what they gave us, because it sends horrible messages, especially to any young people that watch it. It basically tells them, hey, as long as you are trying to achieve what you consider good goals, it's okay to commit crimes. And that's a horrible message.
Interesting message for a supposed superhero story. But I mean, this review is actually pretty good. It says Ironheart review: Dominique Thorne, Swords and Marvel's solid Wakanda-inspired spinoff. Which I said that to you before.
It's not.
Yes, it's not a Wakanda-inspired spinoff. It's an Iron Man-inspired spinoff. So, late in Ironheart, during a bad guy's menacing monologue, our villain doesn't like what he's hearing from one of his henchmen. A recent mission was completed a little too quickly, and ensuing explanation isn't ringing true. You know what this story lacks? The big bad tells us lying goon drama. And a story with no drama, no emotion, no detail, it lacks believability. Okay. The Marvel Cinematic Universe doesn't exactly thrive on believability either, nor should it. These are superheroes. They fly through the sky, travel to other dimensions, and battle with gods, Let me just... Ironheart isn't going to fix those issues, nor does it reverse a few unfortunate trademarks of MCU's TV offerings. The 6-episode limited series feels like a long movie broken into arbitrary episodes. Its ending is mired by digital gobbledygook, and Marvel still doesn't know how magic makes sense in a universe ruled by advanced technology and literal gods. But head writer Shanaka Hodge does right by her character's emotions and the surrounding details, rooting her MCU entry in a dynamically conflicted lead and affecting lead performance to match in a strong sense of place, be it the city of Chicago or our hero's home there. I don't know. Does any of that ring true to you?
Besides, I don't agree with the positive comments, because I don't think it was good messages. I don't think it was good character development. I believe there was character development, but they unnecessarily did it in a negative way.
Oh, I did.
Like I said, the character development is, yeah, it's cool to commit crimes. We're fine because she has a good proposed outcome.
Well, I heard
I don't know.
I hear one of the main criticisms of this too, and I'm just remembering it now because obviously I'm reading through this article, and something I read was that basically the whole time she's complaining that Tony Stark only had everything he had because he was a billionaire, which obviously wasn't true because he crafted his first suit in a cave, so his money really wouldn't have been a factor at that point. Actually, it was just kind of the circumstances that he was put into because of his money, but it wasn't because of his money that he necessarily made the suit.
His money did not make the suit. Yeah.
So, and then this
his money fine-tuned the suit.
And pretty much the flip side of this, or I guess the Ironheart side of this, is this girl's complaining, and then she's like, "I don't have any money. I'm not a billionaire. Yada yada yada." But it's like, but you're going to MIT for nothing. They're giving you grants or enough to work on this high-tech technology, and then when you get expelled for selling your papers, then you decide to go steal the suit that isn't rightfully yours anyway. Right.
She had a full ride to MIT. She did research projects in Wakanda, but apparently that wasn't enough for her to develop what she needed to develop.
Yeah, so it doesn't seem like, I mean, I'm not saying that this Riri Williams here, it doesn't seem like she has as much as Tony Stark did, but it doesn't also sound like, you're rubbing two sticks together here. You got a full grant and you have government money to do whatever you want to build this suit. And I'm guessing she's going to steal the suit, and I heard nobody comes after her either, so that's kind of odd.
Well, yeah, she stole the suit. It's MIT's property, especially after she gets expelled. It's MIT's property, but she took it because it's hers.
I'm sure nobody comes after her because that's good writing.
Nope, nobody ever comes after her, even though she is seen flying it through the city of Chicago, so they know exactly where it is. There's no way nobody doesn't know where it is, but...
All right, well...
Police never come after her for the theft of the suit.
Yeah, I'm not going to read the whole article. Like I said, I'm not going to watch the show anyway. It doesn't matter if it's great or if it's bad. It's hard for me to watch anything in the MCU, really. Like, I'll put on a movie from it every once in a while, but like I'm not like a superhero fan or anything like that. So
I I'll be honest. I watched the first episode and immediately thought this is really bad,
Mm.
and I still gave the other two episodes that have been released a chance. I watched it in its full entirety, and my opinion really didn't change. It was just solidified throughout the rest of the episodes because, again, the crimes just never stopped coming. It's just, it's one thing to say, okay, maybe the one time to get herself launched and to do this, but like she has the suit, it's working
Mhm.
by the second episode,
Oh.
and yet she's still going on these crime missions.
So you gonna? Are
Because
you?
now there's another reason to do that, but yet she's knocking out people. She's witness to people getting shot. Uh, and she's just okay with it because she has a greater good idea, I guess.
So are you gonna finish it out then? I know there's 3 more episodes. They said
They're not released yet.
later.
I guess I'll always finish just to get a full idea of what, I don't want to talk out my ass about anything I ever talk about. So I will absolutely watch what they provide. But my hopes for the 3 episodes was please stop committing crimes.
Mm-hmm.
For one, I believe that is going to happen, especially after how they left it off at with the 3rd episode. But yeah, I just
Yeah, maybe they'll turn it around in the
I
back
don't like
half.
how they. Yeah, but like it doesn't erase what happened the first 3 episodes. Again, I feel like the first 3 episodes really sends a bad freaking message to the
Yeah,
viewers.
I guess it depends if you're going. Yeah, but you said it's a hero role. It's not supposed to be like an anti-hero role.
Last I checked, she's supposed to be a hero, not an anti-hero, which she definitely fits that category right now.
Mhm.
And I wouldn't even say she fits that category right now because she hasn't done any good. She's not stopping criminals by killing them or hurting them by like the Punisher does or like Deadpool does or any, you know what I mean? Like that's an anti-hero.
Yeah.
They stop the criminals with excessive force.
Mhm.
She's not stopping criminals. She is the criminal. So I really don't understand what they're trying to do.
Well, maybe she's girl bossing a little too close to the sun. It sounds like. All right. You got anything else? We're gonna move on to our next topic, or you got anything else to add, real quick? Or
I think we've covered everything about it.
All right. Well,
I hope it does change, but again, it doesn't erase what they've done for the first 3 episodes. I think they really put a bad foundation for her character development.
the MCU I think has been going downhill since Endgame, and even Endgame I don't think it was as good as Infinity War. That I felt was a good movie. Endgame was kind of like but they needed it to wrap it up. But ever since then. Yeah, ever since then, it's kind of just like, I don't know, it's sputtering. I didn't really, the only thing I saw in, what did I see? Oh, no, I saw the, what is it? The
trailer for Fantastic Four. I know.
Oh, no, yeah, I saw that too. I don't think, I think Pedro Pascal's miscast in that. But no, what was it?
Don't have high hopes for that.
The Marvels, I saw that. That was terrible. And I saw, Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which I thought was okay, but I think, I don't know. For me, I think it was the weakest of the 3 movies. I guess such total whiplash from watching that. So
I would, and one thing that would save it for me, MCU specifically, give me a World War Hulk. Give me an actual Hulk movie, a World War Hulk, where there's multiple variations of Hulk, different variations that were used in the comics.
But
that to me, something like that, a project like that would absolutely save it. I hear now there's reports that they're potentially bringing back Jonathan Mayers, or I believe that's his name, as King. They're considering bringing him back now after all his legality issues are now resolved. I guess, I suppose.
I don't know. Disney's not really known for. Maybe they will, but they're not really known for forgiving people. Normally, you mess up in Disney, they kind of throw you out forever. But
well, never say never, especially when it comes to comics and Marvel.
Alrighty, well, let's move on from there. Best of luck to Riri and Ironheart.
Make sure to like and share and let us know what you thought of the show if you've seen it or if you plan on watching it.
We covered this, and this isn't really going to be a full segment, or at least I don't think it is. This is kind of just more of an update. I can't play this because there's copyrighted music on it, but it says, a beautiful tribute to Austin Metcalf's life. Austin's girlfriend, Tatum, posted a sweet video to honor him. I would give anything for one more good night voice memo from you. Hear his voice, see his face, say his name. Obviously very sad, so.
Good night, Tates.
Yeah, and I don't think I can really play this, but it's just, I guess this is his girlfriend, or was his girlfriend, and I guess he would just, leave her nice messages and stuff like that. young couple in love, and
I'm sure they were hoping to have a wonderful, beautiful future together.
Yeah.
Maybe even grow a family.
Even if not, man, that's got to be very, very, very
Definitely not
traumatic.
possible now.
You know, young man lost his life, and we're gonna get into this more about Karmelo Anthony, because really, we cover this on Wednesday. Really, I wanted to talk about this give, send, go, and now about, it seems like there's a discrepancy about where this money is actually going to be used and how it's going to be used. So,
yeah, in fact, I'm sure you're going to be talking about him filing for indigenous, or I forget what it's called.
Indigent.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right, let's get to it.
So I want to pull up this. Austin Metcalf's father's heartbreaking reaction to killer Karmelo Anthony's murder indictment. And Austin Metcalf's father here, you know, I've kind of...
yeah, it's sad.
I'm kind of on the fence about him, really. One, like I said, he forgave his son's killer hours after it happened. Two, he's really,
I'll never agree with.
He's really tried to play down the racial relations and say this wasn't a racial attack. And from everything I've seen, it doesn't seem, I don't think this had anything to do with race, really.
No.
And the other thing, too, is he got kicked out of that press conference. Obviously, he wanted answers about why Karmelo Anthony was still allowed to graduate. And I don't think he's done everything right, but you know what? You're in a state of shock. You're in a state of grief. I still feel for him. I don't think I would handle. I don't think I'd be handling stuff very well, personally. But anyway, let's get into it. The father of slain teen Austin Metcalf has broken his silence on his son's alleged killer being hit with a murder indictment to share a heartbreaking statement. Karmelo Anthony, the teen who admitted stabbing and killing a fellow high school athlete at a track meet in Texas, was indicted on a first-degree murder charge on Tuesday. Austin, 17, bled out in his brother's arms after the then 17-year-old Anthony attacked him in the bleachers of David Coy Kendall Stadium in Frisco on April 2nd. Anthony, now 18, insisted he was acting in self-defense when he knifed Metcalf. However, he's never explained why he had a weapon at an event on school property. However, Tuesday he was formally charged by a grand jury in the crime that has drawn national attention over race and privilege. I don't know. I don't agree with that statement at all. I don't think it is about race. I don't think it's about privilege at all. I think it's just about the entire senselessness. I mean, it's just senseless. The whole thing never should have happened, and the fact that I think that's what shocks people. That it was just and one, it was out of nowhere. It was from what we can tell and from what they allege with the grand jury indicting them. No, I don't.
I don't get how it has to do anything with privilege. What's the privilege?
I don't know. I don't think. Well, I think
it was a sporting event. Somebody had a weapon where they weren't supposed to, and then they used it.
Yeah,
in a situation that clearly was deemed by a grand jury to not be self-defense.
I guess I could see the argument about race, but I think that really it kind of got made about race after the fact. I don't think originally it had anything to do about that. But
yeah.
Let's see. In a statement to Daily Mail after the indictment was handed down, Austin's father said, "I fully believe that justice will be served for Austin Metcalf. I look forward to the forthcoming trial, but it will never bring my son back." Frisco, Texas police have said the indictment stemmed from Metcalf asking Anthony to leave his Team 10 since he didn't go to the same school. The indictment comes weeks after the local district attorney began presenting evidence to a grand jury, asking jurors to uphold the first-degree murder count local cops originally brought against the teen, which obviously was upheld. So with that indictment, the case now moves formally into the court system. We know this case has struck a deep nerve, and I think we covered this already. That's understandable when something like this happens at a school event. It shakes people to the core. Grand jury proceedings are held behind closed doors, and unlike most court hearings, are not open to the public. However, Anthony's advisor, Dominic Alexander, who he should have gotten rid of a long time ago, if that family was any bit intelligent, the baby shaker, it's like this guy is a grifter. He is not going to help your case. He's there to siphon money off of you. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people come out of the woodwork when something like this happens and people want to take sides and they want to get their name in the paper too, and they can make money for their organization. This guy you should not be associating with. That's my 2 cents anyway. Told DailyMail.com that his defense attorney was able to present a packet with evidence Anthony wanted the jurors to see. The embattled teen learned about the indictment shortly before the news was released to media Tuesday afternoon. Alexander added, "A ham sandwich can be indicted in America, right?" Alexander told DM, explaining Alexander had been expecting this outcome. Right, yeah, because, I guess a ham sandwich could kill somebody too, but, okay. Right now, this is the first day of Karmelo pretty much preparing to defend himself in the court of law. You knew he was going to have to defend himself. This guy's an idiot. Just last week, DailyMail.com reported on footage of the stabbing released by the Frisco Independent School District.
If they really thought this trial was not going to go to court, they were unrealistic.
No, he's just going to play the victim about it. And obviously, as we said on Wednesday's episode, but we have not seen the footage that the grand jury has seen, and that might be smart for the integrity of the trial, and it might just be a sensitive thing too, obviously, that you don't want, this footage of your son getting stabbed out there. So I could see that, but from what the grand jury has seen, they decided, hey, we're not going to go with manslaughter, we're not going to go with second degree, we're going with first degree preemptive murder. So from what they saw, they thought from what the prosecutors presented, it was compelling enough to charge him. The video recorded on a fixed camera at David Coy-Kendall Stadium did not show any fighting, pushing, or physical altercation between the boys prior to the knifing. Instead, the clip viewed by the Daily Mail at the school district headquarters showed several people sitting under the Memorial High School team tent. Without any kind of apparent escalation, people can be seen running and walking away from the tent. Later, what appears to be Metcalf's body is moved out of the stadium bleachers to a walkway near the bottom of the seating area. The surveillance appears to challenge the self-defense claim made by the murder suspect, offering little visible evidence that Anthony was in immediate danger before the attack, which it doesn't. They wouldn't have indicted him on first-degree murder if they thought he was somehow in immediate danger for his life. The Frisco Police Department would not comment on whether it is the only video of the slaying. Anthony remains under house arrest at a secret location after persuading a judge that his safety was at risk following threats he received while living in a gated community. Yeah. Gated communities are notoriously unsafe. He spent nearly 2 weeks in jail before a judge agreed to reduce his bond, allowing him to await trial under house arrest. Now I'm not going to read some of these comments. But what we really wanted to talk about here was from Miss Sarah Fields, who has been covering this case, pretty crazily. She's got into it with this guy on the right here. Let's see here. Report, Karmelo Anthony requests court-appointed lawyer despite raising over $500,000 for legal fees on Give, Send, Go. Family is now asking for $1.4 million. And this is the crux of why we're covering this again. Because now they're saying that they want, a court-appointed lawyer. If you want a court-appointed lawyer, why did you raise $500,000? And that is the question. The 18-year-old's family.
Like maybe they spent too much of that money already.
Yeah, maybe they shouldn't have bought. Maybe they shouldn't have bought that Escalade.
Maybe they shouldn't have bought that $900,000 mansion apparently that they live in. House. Sorry.
Well,
not mansion,
they're renting a place, but yeah. And let's see. The 18-year-old's family has raised over $500,000 via Give, Send, Go since his arrest, but they are now claiming he cannot afford an attorney. Yeah, that's crazy. You raised $500,000. What? Okay, you're gonna say, listen, hey, my father, he was some type of, works in a car dealership. He can't work. He doesn't want to be harassed. All right, I get that. But $500,000, man. That's a crazy amount of money. You're like, we can't afford an attorney.
Life-changing money.
Yeah. According to investigative journalist Sarah Fields, hey, we're just talking about her. Oh yeah, we're on her page. Anthony has requested a court-appointed attorney as indigent defendant, meaning he's financially destitute. His family has updated the page and is now seeking $1.4 million for a legal team and other expenses. Carmelo's mother, Kayla Hayes, said in April that the family had gotten access to the donated money and had raised $350,000. The current number stands at $538,000.
But with that statement right there, I feel like their request for that status should be canceled because it's proof that he has money.
Mm-hmm.
There's proof that they have money for legal fees.
Yeah,
they're just trying not to spend that money on legal fees.
I just refreshed it. It's up to $540,000. It really hasn't moved a whole lot.
If I was anyone donating right now, no offense, I know normally we say, hey, you could donate to whatever you want, but at this point, this guy, the family is literally trying to steal the money.
Yep.
It's not going for legal fees. Stop donating to this. It's not going for what they're advertising it's for.
No.
If I was Give, Send, Go, I would demand a refund. I would send a refund back to everyone. They're not using it for what they're advertised using it for.
I'll read the update, but they say, let's see, these funds are being used to cover essential and urgent needs that have arisen as a result.
You can say they're using for part of it, but buying a brand new car is not that. Buying an excessively expensive or renting out an excessively expensive house does not fit into that category.
Says it right, and they list other things they're going to use it for, but it says, while legal expenses are a significant part of this fund, they are only one part. Well, it doesn't seem like they're any part of it, actually. It seems like there are no part of it. So,
according to your statements, you're trying to make it no part.
So this is a little more detailed. Again, from Sarah Fields, who has done a really good job covering this case. Shout out to her, because she's gotten some threats for this too.
Thank you, Sarah Fields.
And obviously, you know, we don't condone harassment of anybody on this channel.
And it's just, it's sad when somebody just reports what's going on, just like us. Like, it'd be the same thing. I really hope that nobody ever goes that route with us, but
you hope
you know, we just report what is out there. We're not making up news. We're not being biased. It's what is out there. What is the newest update for this?
Well, neither is she.
Is reporting that exactly. She is reporting that they filed for this. That's all she's reporting. She's not even saying her own opinion about it.
No, well, this is
crazy that people are doing stuff like that.
This is in response to her revealing that guy they're partnered with is a baby shaker, and it's like, all right, but that's public knowledge. That's out there. I mean, court records are public. Exactly. So, breaking: Karmelo Anthony submitted an indigent packet to the Collin County Court requesting court-appointed legal representation as an indigent, financially destitute defendant. However, just 24 hours ago, the Anthony family updated their Give, Send, Go campaign to reflect a need to raise an additional $1.4 million for a legal team. I don't think it's an additional, but they did up it, I think, from $1 million to, I think, 1.4 million for some reason. Karmelo Anthony's mother, Kayla Hayes, who managed the Give, Send, Go, stated on April 17, 2 months ago, that they had just gained access to the funds at the time. They had already raised $350,000. The fundraiser has now reached $538,000. According to a source, their current known attorney, Mike Howard, is more than likely charging a retainer fee of $10,000 to $30,000 and charges $400 to $500 per hour. Yeah, attorneys aren't cheap. Where did the money go? Why do they need $1.4 million? Will they be granted indigence and an appointed attorney with a Give, Send, Go of this magnitude? Is this considered fraud? Well, if they don't use the money on attorneys, I would say yeah. And I know
I would say it's fraud if they don't use it on a legal team.
So,
and according to what was just posted up there from the facts, my understanding is they definitely have the money to pay for the legal fees right now. You know.
Well, yeah, this is why I pulled up this clip, and this is a short clip here. But this is from the mother who was at the press conference. Austin Metcalf's father went to this press conference. He got kicked out, and oddly enough, he didn't end up stabbing anybody. So, interesting. But let's hear what she has to say here, just to confirm.
My 13-year-old daughter is afraid to sleep in her own bedroom because she's fearful of what may happen to her.
There's a killer living on the other side of the wall. That has to be scary. All right.
And let me be clear. The claims that were used about the public donation to buy a home or anything else are completely false.
Well, what's the money going towards then? What is happening with the money?
Yeah, are completely false. But okay, so I mean, you don't have to tell us what you spend the money on, but you do have to tell go spend or whatever it's like go spend fund. What I always forget.
Give, Send, Go.
Give, Send, Go. You do have to let them know because it is your responsibility to not fraudulently spend the money on stuff you're not supposed to.
They said they were going to have access to the money from this. I think she said in a couple days they would have access to the money. So unless you don't have access to it yet, but what are you spending the money on? And I would say, yeah, I would say that constitutes fraud. It's going towards this legal fund, but now we're financially destitute. So we're going to probably be covering this again. It'll be very interesting to see what comes out. If I was the court, I would strike it down. I'd be like, listen, you guys got $500,000. You fundraised off of this. And you've gotten an exorbitant amount of money. I've never heard of anybody fundraising to that extent. And yet you're financially destitute. That doesn't add up. You just got $500,000. Something ain't right here. But we'll be covering that, you know. I'm sure this is not the last we're going to hear of it. I think the trial has been probably pushed back till next year. I wonder if it will happen in Collin County, or maybe it's too well known. Sometimes they do move it to different counties. But, you know, we shall see.
The TV says something.
All right, you're going to have to give me a second.
All right. Hey, what's up there? Yeah, we're finishing up anyway, man. I got a picture of Turks and Caicos here. Yeah, please leave a like on the video, share it out, subscribe, comment, yada, yada, yada. But that's all the topics we got for today. So, anything else you want to add, Duke?
No, thank you for joining us. on another episode of the Duke and Dutch Show.
Yep. Thank you very much, and we will be back Monday. And yeah, thank you, and see you then.
See you then.